I now recognize Representative Salazar from the great state of Florida for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses. I want to ask, I'm sure that I'm going to be repeating some of the same statements that we have been hearing before, but I want to hear from Mrs. Danitz. Thank you, Mrs. Danitz, for being here. Why do you think Michigan and not Florida? I represent District 27, South Florida. Why do you think that the SBA made this agreement with the federal government, with the state of Michigan? Why Michigan and not Florida?
Because the state officials in Florida have not approached SBA relating to designation, as in Indiana.
What about Ohio or Mississippi or any other state that is not considered blue or necessary to win for President Biden?
Again, the White House's statements makes clear that SBA would be willing to be designated in any state where a state official makes that designation. So because voter registration, the mechanics remain with the state, it is up to the state official of each state to approach SBA and make a designation.
All right. And I'm sure for everything that you have heard here during this hearing, that the optics of this program is pretty dubious. The optics are just, and I'm going to give you just a few facts, so then I want to hear your opinion. Michigan is the only state, right? Coincidentally. After 1 week after this agreement between the state of Michigan and SBA, all of a sudden the White House announces that it's going to establish 15 campaign field offices across the state. Optics are not really clear there. Michigan is a swing state. Michigan has polls from every corner of the political spectrum saying that President Biden is down. The evidence, circumstantial evidence, optics, whatever you want to call it, is pointing that the Biden administration is using taxpayers' money. That's illegal. To increase their chances of winning re-election. That's very illegal. So I just want to ask your opinion. You are an advisor. You are a consultant. What do you say to the optics that I just narrated?
Michigan is not the only state that has designated a federal agency. And quite frankly,
is the only one that has right now an agreement with the state of with the Secretary of State, with the federal government, meaning the SBA, which is the same thing. Feds, SBA, same thing. State of Michigan.
So because of the structure of the NVRA, there is no specific way that each state has to undertake the designation process. So, for example,
no, we're not saying that they have to, but Michigan did take it. 15 field offices were opened, and that's why I'm saying the optics. Don't you see something wrong with what we're saying?
What I see is that there are agencies designated in states across the country, and this hearing is focusing on Michigan because of the SBA.
How many other states have the same type of agreement between a federal agency, meaning the SBA, in order to, like you said, 30 years ago, this program started to promote and to go to the business owners and say, hey, let's don't even talk about what you need right now. If you need to buy computers or you need a small loan, let me help you register to vote.
Kansas, New Mexico, Arizona.
Do they have the same type of agreement between
They have designated federal agencies, and those federal agencies will be providing voter registration services.
But they are not in place right now. They haven't started, like Michigan started a week ago.
I am unaware whether they have been implemented yet.
So I go back to, so you're trying to give me just a little detail. I'm saying the whole optics. Don't you see what we are seeing?
I am personally thrilled that agency-based registration is expanding across the country to provide nonpartisan voluntary voter registration services to Americans.
Stop right there, nonpartisan. How do we know that if this is an initiative from the Biden administration in a state that is a swing state, how do we know or not know that the members of the SBA, Mrs. Guzman, we know that she's an advocate for the president, is really going to give the opportunity to that person that wants to register Republican?
Congresswoman, I am actually thrilled you asked me this question, so thank you very much. There are many layers of protection to ensure nonpartisanship.
Time has expired.
You never answered the question, madam.
I now recognize